Hi, my name is Abigail Rigner, and I am the chapter president of RIT AISES. And to talk a little bit about fundraising, one of the fundraisers that we've done in the past is we've sold t-shirts with pretty cool designs on them. So one of the biggest obstacles was meeting the amount that we needed to fundraise. Our university requires that we meet a certain percent of our yearly budget. So one thing we've done to kind of mitigate this is we try to set an amount for ourselves that we can obtain without having to worry too much about overshooting our budget and not being able to fundraise enough money. We, like many of you guys, are kind of a smaller chapter, and we usually like to ask each of our members to volunteer to help with our fundraisers rather than reach out or that kind of thing. We usually try and set these fundraiser times around like when our members are not in class and that kind of thing. And we select fundraising activities by brainstorming different things that we think people would be interested in, like buying a cool t-shirt or maybe like buying cookies, things like that. We try and stay organized by working out materials between our officers, and our treasurer oversees our funds. Promoting fundraising activities, we do that mainly through social media, where we have the biggest outreach, but we also try and promote events through our email list and the email list of our Multicultural Center for Academic Success, which has a more broader base than we do. Personally, we don't have to obtain any permits for fundraising, but it's always good to double check with your school since things tend to change, especially in times like these. And the best advice that we have for those just beginning to fundraise is to check out what other chapters and maybe even other clubs are doing. I know a popular event that a lot of clubs do here is a dining fundraiser through restaurants like Chipotle or Panera, and then they get a cut of that money that is raised. And there are always going to be people out in your community who will want to help you. So thank you guys.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Morgan, and I was served as the president for the University of Arkansas AISES chapter this last year, and I just recently graduated. And I'm here to answer a couple of questions about fundraising. So to start, what are some of the biggest obstacles that you've had with fundraising, and how did you overcome them? So our biggest obstacles that we've had are that we struggle to get some members involved just because we do have a smaller chapter. And then also just getting fundraisers approved through the university is kind of a hassle. It's a little bit more difficult. There's a lot of forms you have to fill out, and you have to be careful about which fundraisers are going to actually get approved or not. So just being aware of what policies your university has. The second question is, how did you get members from your chapter to be involved in fundraising activities, and how do you get people to volunteer to help? So we just ask for member participation in our group meetings, and normally people sign up. We also have some professors that are really typically involved with our chapter, so we ask them for their assistance as well. If you have any professional chapter members within your general location of your university, they're typically way more willing to help. So if you just reach out to them, they're normally pretty good about rounding up people to help you. So how do you go about selecting fundraising activities? So for us, we don't typically do a lot of your traditional fundraising. So we don't do like t-shirt sales or bake sales or anything like that. Our university gives us money for being a minority registered student organization at our university. So we get a lot of that money from them, and that just goes directly into our account without us really having to do anything. So we use that money for like national conference or regional conference registrations, hotels and travel and all of that. We also have another thing through our university. So it's called All In for Arkansas. So they do it once a year, and it's basically just this big fundraising event for all of the different organizations on campus. So what happens is it's 24 hours of fundraising, and people can donate specifically to your cause. So you have what's called like ambassadors for your group, and they'll post it on social media. You make some cold calls, you know. You also have some professionals that are in your region that want to donate on that day. It's also tax deductible. So any donation that's made to the university through that day is really good for businesses, especially bigger businesses that want to make a bigger donation. So we have that. That's kind of all in what you make it. So you get different bonuses for getting, a certain number of donations in an hour, or, your first donation. So that's kind of fun and different. It doesn't typically take a lot of planning. I mean, you typically just have people, on social media posting it, getting the word around. The next question is, do you have any sources that you would like to share that help answer questions with fundraising? The only sources that I would have would be to make sure that you're doing something that's worthwhile for your organization. So if you don't have a ton of people, maybe don't take on the biggest, project that you can. The biggest sources that you're going to have are just really reaching out to your advisors or the professionals in your general area in your state. They're way more willing to help, and they have a lot more networking and a lot more resources that'll help you. You could also reach out to the tribes in your area to see if they would be willing to donate towards your chapter, especially if you're going to regional conference or you're hosting conference or something like that. They're way more willing to give money towards, a actual event than they would be towards just your organization. But a lot of the fees that come from your AISES chapter are for conferences, so that does help a lot. The best way to go about that would be to email the chief or the residing officer for the different tribes directly. So if you have somebody to get you in contact with them, that's the best way to go about it. And typically that process doesn't take too long, but definitely something to look into. The next one is, how did you stay organized while hosting a fundraising activity? And do you have any suggestions on best practices? So the best way to just stay organized is to keep everything in one place. So for us, we have a group me, so any questions can immediately be answered in the group me. I can ask, for help or, delegate some tasks out on there. We also have a Google team or a Microsoft Teams channel for just our AISES. So all of our documents and anything that they could possibly ever need is all on that one central location. So that just helps to keep everybody organized, and then everybody has access to all the same things. The next one is, what were your more profitable fundraising activities? I personally think that asking people for donations in your area is a lot more beneficial than trying to raise money through your traditional fundraising methods, because people are way more willing to invest in your education and your mission as an AISES chapter. So if you go about it in the right way and you just ask, like, hey, we're going to conference, would you be willing to help chip in for this? A lot of people don't want to just donate open-endedly. They want to see an end goal. So make sure that you put, like, hey, your money is going to go towards X, Y, and Z. And I think that that's probably the most profitable thing that we've had success with. How do you go about promoting your fundraising activities? So any activities that we do have, we post on our social media. So we have an Instagram page. I also typically post them on Facebook. We send out emails to our chapter. We typically send out emails to the engineering listserv as well. And then we also get the help of the Engineering Student Council to help promote our activities. Do you have to get any special permits for certain activities? Yes. So for specifically at the University of Arkansas, you have to get your fundraising approved through the Registered Student Organization office. So they have to approve of the fundraiser and the way that you're raising funds. And then also you have to reserve your space on campus if you're doing it on campus at one of their buildings or outside on the lawn or at the union. So you still have to do that. You need to be able to have a space. So like if you need a table set up, they'll do that for you. You just have to make sure to reserve it. It's typically not very hard to do that. It's just kind of more administrative, just making sure that you get everything together before the fundraising begins. Can you share any sources to help with fundraising ideas? So we tried this in the past and we didn't have a ton of success with it, but the University of Arkansas or the University of Oklahoma has had really good success. So they have what's called a sponsorship letter. They send out sponsorship letters to all of the companies in their area. So all, big, small companies. It's a letter. It basically says like, hey, we're AISES. This is what we do. This is what we're raising money for. And you can become a sponsor. So they have different tiers where you can, you get different things. So you can pay for the most expensive one where you get access to all of the resumes. You also get your logo on their website, any merchandise that they sell, that kind of stuff. And so then it progresses down. So I know that they've had really good success with that. We personally did not have super great success, but it just kind of depends on your area and how willing people are to do for that. Like I said, I would definitely reach out to the tribes in your area because they have the funds to donate to you. And so that is really good. Any other sources? I cannot think of anything else. What would be your best advice to those that are new to hosting a fundraising activity? My best advice would just be to keep everything organized and try to reach out to people because you're definitely not in this alone and you don't need to feel like everything needs to be all on your shoulders at all times. So reach out because most of the professional members in your area have gone through it. They've been a college member. They know what it's like to be begging people for money so that you can go to conferences. And they have a bigger network. They're there to help you. So definitely reach out. Also reach out to the AISES headquarters because they have some really great ideas and they are way more willing to help than some people. So also reach out to see if you could maybe get into like co-hosting a fundraiser because like for us, we're a small chapter, so it's not really worthwhile for us because we'll have like 4 people show up. But if you could do a fundraiser and it's you and another like student organization, that kind of takes some of the weight off of your shoulders. And obviously you still get to do the fundraiser. So that would be my best advice. Thank you.